It's me, Chavez, back with another Prize Picks video for you. Today is Thursday, February 9th, 2023. We have 4 games on the NBA schedule and more props on the board to dig into. Still don't see any DeMar DeRozan on this board. Do not see any Cam Thomas on this board as well. So without those two guys on the board, we still have a pretty sizable player prop board to dig into. I have 2 games that I want to target. Now, these won't be the only games I'm playing from, but these are my 2 favorite games on the slate. I'm going to share with you some props that stood out to me that I will be playing tonight. And we're going to match up all that research that we talked about in that first video, our early look video, and use it to pick some player props. So without further ado, let us head on over to Atlanta, where the Hawks are hosting the Phoenix Suns. Now, the Phoenix Suns are coming into this game a little short-handed. They're not going to have Booker, Bridges, or Cam Johnson tonight. Also, they're coming off an ass whooping by the hands of the Hawks about 8 days ago. And I really hope it doesn't go in that direction again, being that they're shorthanded. But if this game stays close, there is a lot to like, starting with DeAndre Ayton over his rebounds and over his points and over his points and rebounds. If I had to pick just one of the two, honestly, I'd pick his rebounds. But I also like his points and rebounds. I think he can get more than 11 rebounds tonight, and I think that'll supplement if he does fall short of his point prop. But I like these for DeAndre Ayton the most. And then talk about Chris Paul. I know a lot of people are going to be on his assist because he is point guard. However, I like his fantasy score a little bit more because now I don't think he's known as he's definitely not known as a scorer. But without Book and Cam Johnson and Bridges in the lineup, I think he has to score a little bit more today. So let's just say he gets you 17 points. Let's say he gets you 10 assists. 17 plus 15 is 32. And Ayton just went up. As I'm talking right now. I hate when that happens. I still like it at 32, but I think I like his rebounds a little bit more now. So 32 points between assists and points for Chris Paul. He gets you 5 rebounds. That's 6 points right there. That's 38. He'll get you 2 steals in this game. That's 44 fantasy points minus his 2 turnovers. That's 42. Even if he only got you 1 steal out of this game, it gives him 39 fantasy points. So I think his fantasy point prop tonight is way too low. So I really like that for Chris Paul along with his assist. And on the other side, I do like Trae Young. I don't mind his assist prop. It's hard to tell with Trae Young now because he's just been on this roll where he's just dishing out assists, but he's not really scoring a whole lot. So I'm just going to stay away from all of his other stats, assists. If you think he scores more than 27 points, then go play his fantasy score as well because he cannot hit this fantasy score without scoring all those points. And then DeJounte Murray over his rebounds. I really like him over his rebounds tonight. Set to 5.5. That's just too low for me. I think that's an over. Capella, we talked about this yesterday. You saw what Nick Claxton did in terms of points and boards versus this Phoenix team. Can Capella get you a double-double? Well, it sure looks like he has to because that's his prop. 21.5. I think that's in play. But I also like his points and assists because if you believe Capella is going to get you 13 points tonight, he hits that prop and then he hits the points and assists prop. He may give you an assist in this game. He may give you 2 assists. But if he gives you 13 points, you don't have to worry about that anymore. So these two correlate. I like these both tonight for Capella. So points and assists. I also like his backup, Onyeka Okongwu, over his 13.5 points and rebounds. Very, very quietly getting it done for the Atlanta Hawks. I think this is a little too low for Okongwu. And he's just, again, just quietly getting it done for the Hawks. Yeah, and that's going to do it for the Hawks. Capella, points and assists and points. Okongwu over 13.5 points. We got Trae Young over his assists, obviously. And then we have DeJounte Murray over his rebound prop, which I just think it's just a little too low. Just a little too low right here. All right, moving on to the next game that I want to talk about. Brooklyn and Chicago. A lot to like in this game. Not sure what the status of DeMar DeRozan is, but let's assume he sits out. Then you have to like Vucevic and Zach LaVine even more because they're going to soak up his usage, just like they did in the last game versus Memphis. I believe that's who they played last, Memphis. What I like about Vucevic is his fantasy score. He's just been on a tear. And I know you're not going to get 60, not Vice, Vooch. I know you're not going to get 60 from him every game, but you can get 44 from him for sure. For sure. As that second option on the team behind Levine, yeah, for sure. So I believe in this. I think this is in play for sure. I also like his turnovers. I think these are in play as well. More usage comes more opportunity to turn it over, and also centers get a lot of turnovers called on them because of offensive charges. They charge, you know, they draw, they knock somebody down. That's a turnover. That's a foul and a turnover. So that's another way he can turn the ball over. It doesn't always have to be resulting from a steal. But I do like that along with his fantasy points. Zach LaVine, I think Zach LaVine's fantasy score is too low. 38.5. My goodness. Come on now. I think his fantasy score is a little too low. 38.5. I like that as well. Zach LaVine over this. Patrick Williams. Little off the board here with this play. Probably not somebody you're used to playing or talking about. Patrick Williams over. His points and assists, same thing applies that we talked about with Capella. If you think Patrick Williams can get you 12 points, he hits this points and assists and his points prop. You can put these in different lineups and you can kind of leverage that. That's what I like from the Chicago side. Now on the Brooklyn side, we still don't have Cam Thomas, but we still can look into what they have available to us. Let's start with Nick Claxton. I like him over his fantasy score. I said anytime his fantasy score is below 40, I'm going to play it. Then I also like his rebounds. I think this is also in play for sure. Rebounds look good for Nick Claxton as well as his fantasy score. His new teammate, Spencer Dinwiddie. I like him over his fantasy score tonight. I don't mind his points. I like his three-pointers as well. Fantasy score is too low. This is going to be the equivalent of a player returning from injury. Those props, when they come back from injury, are always set a little soft. And you can take advantage of them over the first couple games they're back. So same thing. New team. I think this is too low for him. I really do. He's going to have the same type of role that he had in Dallas without Luka. I think this is too low for Dinwiddie. That's what I like from this game. We'll see what happens with additional props being released for Cam Thomas. We got Ben Simmons. Not interested in that. Royce O'Neal. No. I'm sticking with Dinwiddie and Claxton in this game. The other two games, we can briefly talk about Orlando, Denver. MPJ's three-pointers are not on the board, unfortunately, so don't think that's going to happen, but I still love that at 2.5 if it does drop. I like Jokic over his rebounds tonight. I think that's a little too low. And I don't mind his points tonight. He plays much better. He plays much differently on the road. And I believe it's because the home court advantage in Denver is so strong and they're just blowing teams out. You're going to see a huge drop in production at home over his points. But on the road, when you look up his game log, it looks a little different. These are all his home games. 20 points, 14 points, 22, 26 gets it done. 31, 36 gets it done. But 17, 21, 14, that doesn't get it done. 28, 12, 30, 19, 40. So it looks to me like the home court advantage is a real thing in Denver. And he's just really not putting up a ton of points. Not fantasy points, just points. At home over his last 10, he's giving you 23. And on the road over his last 10, he's giving you 27. Just something to think about. But the points for Jokic really stand out to me. I think he makes up for that dud he put up on Tuesday. I think he gives us 30 points tonight. How about that? How about that for going out on a limb? And that's really it, honestly. Bonchero over his rebounds look good. You can play that. Hasn't moved in like 5 games. Lakers and Milwaukee. I don't want to talk too much about this, but I do like, not Giannis. I do like Giannis. Man, I cannot spell today. I like Giannis. There we go. I like Giannis over his points, 33.5. A lot of juice coming in on the over on this. I think it's like 140, minus 140 over on his points today. So that stood out to me. Drew Holiday stands out a little bit just because you know how the Lakers play point guards not very well. And then on the Lakers side, Man, I'm not really interested in LeBron or AD. You can go there if you think this is going to be one of those types of like playoff games where they all step up and have monster games. I'm more interested in Schroeder over his points tonight. Without Westbrook in the lineup, it opens up a lot of usage for him. And I did have some interest in Beverly, but they removed him from the board. His points and assists were way too low. They were like at 10.5. So they might be bringing him back, but maybe with a little juice to the over, bump that up a little bit. Yeah. And that's going to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for stopping by the channel, hanging out with me, talking basketball props. Let me know in the comments below who your favorite prop on the board is and who you're rolling with tonight. Also, let me know what you think about my props. Named a lot of guys tonight, a lot of player props to go over. My favorite ones are going to come from that Phoenix and Atlanta game. I like Ayton over his rebounds. Points and rebounds, I like those as well, but they got bumped up a little bit. So I can still see him hitting this. I do like Chris Paul. I do like Chris Paul over his fantasy score tonight, 38.5. And man, I just think, again, Levine over his fantasy score. I think that's a little too low. Ayton, Paul, Levine, these are the ones that stand out to me as strong plays. Obviously, I'm playing more than these guys, but make your own moves. Combine my research with your research. Put together some awesome slips and let me know what those look like in the comments below. Thank you once again for stopping by the channel and just hanging out with me, talking props. Really appreciate the support. We're over 1,400 subs. Thank you so much. This is awesome. It's been a blast bringing you this information on a daily basis. And until my next video, the early look and research video for Friday's slate, Chavez is out.